What's up, guys? It's our wrestling podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious along with Jess Total Package and Craig the British Bulldog, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Today's topic, Great American Bash Review 1995. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Or for video, check us out on YouTube at our wrestling channel. And you can also look to your left for several other video and audio options. And please, if you don't mind, could you give us a follow on Instagram at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast if you're not an infomercial. Craig, we're gonna do something a little bit different here. I had a little bit of a pool emergency today, so Jess has allowed me in his such fine behavior and etiquette to let me do a blind review. I'm gonna literally look at these matches and I'm gonna tell you what I think they're graded, and I'm gonna see how close I came to the experts, my Mythbusters experts, to see what they graded on these, and we're gonna have a little bit of fun, do a little different.
Dave was not able to watch it, so we're still going to power on. And by the way, this is the re-debut of the reviews on our main channel. Reviews are fun. We get to riff, we get to dick around. If it's a good pay-per-view, we have a good time. If it's bad, we still have a good time. So it's back.
That's
it's
true.
back here
This is bad.
on the channel.
This is bad.
This is my June offering. This was on June 18th, 1995, WCW Great American Bash 1995.
My birthday, motherfuckers.
Happy birthday, buddy.
For Craig's birthday, they had this pay-per-view in his honor, and it was not good, and I apologize, Craig, for WCW's offering. So here's the thing. How many years is that, Dave? This is 95, 2005, 2015. 30 fucking years ago. 30 years ago, this pay-per-view. 30 years ago. This was a year before the NWO. This was a year before all the good stuff. This was right before the
Hogan was
Cruiserweights.
there but did not wrestle. So
yeah,
you didn't
Hogan
have to
was
pay him.
here. And now, so many people talk to me. So many people bitch about wrestling now, and they're like, "Oh man!" And I'm like, "You listen. We are veterans. We're like war veterans here. I'm not making light of combat. I'm just saying we're war veterans here. Like we lived through 1995 WWF and WCW. We lived through Diesel Power. We lived through Hulkamania trying to shove itself down our throat again, and it was dead, and it was so old and gross and passé here. And we have a pay-per-view here that Hogan wasn't even a part of. He's kind of part of the pre-show, but Hogan wasn't even a part of. It's just really, really, this was WCW.
Papa Jess, was he pitching Great American Beer in 1995?
No, he was not.
No, he wasn't.
He was not.
Oh, that's too bad.
Some people did know that he was a piece of shit even back here, but I, as a Hulkamaniac, I did not see that back here.
We did not know.
I was a super fan back here. Hogan got me into wrestling.
30 years later, he did.
And even though
we were coming fresh off a really cool TV show that he did, Tropic Thunder. No, not Tropic Thunder. What was it? What was it?
Thunder in Paradise.
Thunder in Paradise.
There it is. I knew it had thunder in it.
Yeah. So, like I said, this is June 18th, 1995. It was at Dayton, Ohio, the Hara Arena. They had a sellout here of 6,000 fans. They set the bar low, and they needed to.
Backed by popular demand, Jess. Don't forget that tagline.
Yep. So we had an opening. So I'm gonna start off here with the opening match here, and Craig, this is super deceiving. The opening match was Alex Wright pinning Brian Pillman in 15 minutes and 26 seconds. Brian Pillman went for a crucifix and then a sunset flip, and then Alex Wright sat down and pinned him. I want to say that I give this.
Can I give my blind grade? I'm going to give it like a B+. I think it was probably pretty good.
Okay, so Dave, again, did not watch this, and Dave is saying he thinks, just off me saying the two people that are in it, the time, Dave factors, he has a lot of different things that he does in his head, and he factors in everything, and Dave is coming out with a B. I gave it a B-.
That's close. Okay.
Craig, what did you give it?
I gave it a C+. It was good. During this time period, they always started with Alex Wright. It did not matter what you did.
Right.
Alex Wright apparently got butts off seats.
He took the candle. He took the thing after Johnny B. Bad. Johnny B. Bad went all 94 starting off. Johnny B. Bad passed the baton, the torch.
And he was good, man. He was good. And Brian Pillman is always a great worker. It was okay. And It was fine.
It was two faces, and then Brian Pillman obviously ended up playing the heel because he was more of the veteran. They were really trying to get this babyface Alex Wright over. It never works. And the wrestling fan was not – they were not conditioned for this. ECW was already kind of making a name on like the niche wrestling fan circuit, the hardcores and all that stuff. So the fans were already saying that we hate this kind of babyface garbage and all that stuff. So Alex Wright never stood a chance, in my opinion.
And the people love it here. What a match. Sunset flip. With 1, 2, 3.
Yes, he got it. Ladies and gentlemen,
Amazing.
this football game, Alex Wright.
What a win. What an effort by both men.
How embarrassing to be beat by the Wonder Punk in your backyard.
There's nothing embarrassing about this at all.
I'm not going to be impressed if you guess this one, Dave. The next match, if you want to call it, is an arm wrestling contest. David Sullivan beat Diamond Dallas Page when Max Muscle, which was DDP's second, was in the ring, distracted DDP, and accidentally bumped into DDP. Kimberly, who was DDP's valet at this point, but she was like the good guy. She didn't want DDP to do bad stuff anymore.
If we have to grade it, I guess an F minus. I mean,
good
what
stuff.
Are we talking about?
So yeah, and if Dave Sullivan won, he got to take
Dave Sullivan won. That's all you need to know about the arm wrestling contest, the second match of Great American Bash in 1995.
If Dave Sullivan wins, he gets to take the Diamond Doll, which is Kimberly Page, out on a date. So he in fact did win because, like I said, Max Muscle got in there, who was like the big buff bodyguard of DDP here at the time. DDP just a year later, not even a year later, about a year and a half later. What a difference a year and a half makes! Like Jesus Christ.
I was fast forwarding. I had no idea who Max Muscle was, and I had what the fuck was this guy doing in the ring? All I know about this is Kimberly's facial expressions were terrible. I love her. Very, very sexy. If she were not, if she were not doing what she did during this match, which sounds crazy, it would have been a lot better grade. But her responses and facial expressions were terrible.
She was terrible.
Fucking terrible. It was awful.
Diamond Dallas doesn't have eyes in the back of his head. He just happens to be stepping on Max's foot by accident.
Muscles over there again. Look at him one more time. Extra leverage.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the arm wrestling
Dave Sullivan wins it.
winning the date with
He
the
wins the
Diamond
date.
Doll, Dave
no.
Sullivan.
Gonna be the worst night of your life, honey.
And I believe
It's an F easily.
And Jess, no matter what your financial income, you probably paid $30 for this.
So I did.
Your family?
I did.
Oh, okay.
And I will say something right now that's a little sad for me to admit. This was actually on Father's Day, this pay-per-view, and I made my dad let me get it on Father's Day. So I'm a terrible son.
Like, Ted, come on, Ted. It's only $30, Ted.
I legitimately am an absolutely
Father's
terrible
Day,
son,
Ted.
and I have no fucking I have no excuse. So
Come on, Ted. I don't even smoke, Ted. Jesus,
what
just
I
buy
do.
the paper.
Oh, you don't like Meng, Dad? Happy Father's Day.
I'm a shit human being.
No, you're not.
Next is
shout out to Ted. We love you, Ted.
They
No,
loved you
Ted.
very much.
Next,
Hence
the
why
hits
they
keep
love
on
you.
coming. Hacksaw Jim Duggan defeats Sergeant Craig Pittman in 8 minutes and 14 seconds by disqualification.
How did they get 8 minutes? Set the stage.
Please,
Set the stage.
shut the fuck up.
So,
I'm sorry.
so Duggan goes for his 3-point stance, right? When he gets down. he's
Oh,
like,
no, did he really?
And then Craig Pittman countered him and tripped him on his face, and then put him in the code breaker, which was his submission arm bars hold.
Okay.
All sounds fine, right? For pro wrestling, right?
Does it?
However,
All right.
the entire match, so WCW was trying to put over Craig Pittman as this vicious, crazy kind of military guy. Just you don't know if he, just a little crazy pants. And his finishing move was the arm breaker, so he would get you. What do you think if your finishing move, Dave? Because you did not watch this. If your finishing move was an arm bar, what body part would you work on during the whole match to try to soften them up for your finishing move? What body part?
I would say it would be the arm.
The arm, okay.
For $100.
So instead for 7.5 minutes of this 8 minutes and 14 seconds, Craig Pittman brutalized Hacksaw's knee. And for no reason. And then so at the end, he puts him in the code breaker, which is his armbar, and then Duggan doesn't give up, and then Craig Pittman
pulls out the ring.
Yes. Well, okay, I'm going to read exactly like what it is here. Let me try to bring the bad stuff out of this so that way people.
Military veteran, USMC Craig Pittman, which the crowd also is chanting USA, USA for Duggan against Sergeant Craig Pittman, who is actually in the armed forces. Go ahead, Jess.
Yes, that's also another one.
Because it all makes sense.
Pittman somehow blocks a 3-point clothesline or refuses to sell, based on how you look at it, and locks in his code red. But Duggan gets to the ropes. Pittman refuses to break and gets disqualified. So not only do they base the whole match, not only do they base the entire match on Pittman beating Duggan's leg. At the end, he ends up locking an armbar on, which he didn't work on Duggan's arm the entire match. And then WCW doesn't even book him to beat Duggan. Like he could, nothing. Or Duggan could have reversed out of it and got a quick pin on Pittman, and then Pittman gets pissed at the end and does the armbar and gets it. You could have done a million different things. Why is it? As I give this match an F, why is it?
Yes,
why
I got
is
it right.
it? Why is it that Pittman couldn't go over or Duggan couldn't go over? Why is it that in a lower mid-card waste my time match that you have to pay money to watch?
That doesn't work for me, brother.
Craig, that is the only thing I can fucking think of.
I was going to say insert our favorite WCW here.
If Duggan lost this match, was Duggan afraid that if he lost by submission in the armbar, to heaven forbid, put a new star over? I'm not saying Pittman fucking lit the world on fire. I'm not suggesting that.
Would 6,000 people in Ohio give a shit?
Yeah, but not even that. The next night, would you not like all in the arena for Duggan? Of course you would. It doesn't matter if Duggan loses or not. Every house show I went to. Every house show I went to Duggan that Duggan was on in my life, everyone in the crowd's all no, like everybody, USA and hoeing, like so.
It was the easiest thing to do. It was the easiest gimmick. It was fantastic. Jess, I couldn't agree with you more on that.
Was Duggan or the bookers afraid that if Duggan taps out here or gives up, like tomorrow night,
we're gonna kill him. We're gonna kill
tomorrow
him.
night on WCW Saturday night.
I just don't feel like it's good for my character.
Were people afraid that Duggan would come out in future events and just people would be all, boo, you tapped out, dude? Like nobody would.
How am I supposed to show up on Monday, winner? I was like, shut the fuck up.
That guy would literally come out to like 80,000 people with a booger hanging out of his nose, and people would lose their minds thinking it was the best thing on earth.
Got it on. Code red. He's got code red on and dug into the ropes.
Well, he didn't waste any time finding those ropes, did he?
He's not letting go.
You don't have to.
He's pulling on. He's broken an arm, and he's going to get disqualified. He won't let go again.
He may have tear the whole shoulder out.
The winner of the match, as a result of a disqualification, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
No, I don't know. I don't think he did.
But he did get caught with coke with the Iron Sheik in the car.
Okay, that's not.
Well, that all makes sense. I mean, look at his character. That does.
All
make
right,
sense.
so Craig, I'm assuming you give this an F.
Tough
as well.
guy.
So
No, A+, I think. I'm pro. And if you guys don't like this,
We
then
spent way too much
you're
time on this.
obviously
We're
not
terrible.
American.
Right.
So, yeah,
Fair
A+.
enough. It's not possible for me to tap the Craig Pittman. My career's going to be over, Terry. All right, brother, I'll go talk to Bischoff. That's exactly what happened, probably. The next match is disappointing. Harlem Heat with Sister Sherry defeated Dick Slater and Bunkhouse Buck with Colonel Robert of the Parker when Booker T pins Buck after a small package, 8 minutes, 40 seconds. Listen, it's a D.
C.
It's a D.
I was
I gave my
very
D.
distracted. Perhaps the best body that Sherry has ever had.
I enjoy
during
the
this
Sherry
time.
in here.
She took some bumps. She got thrown out. She did the final roll up after the small package and then rolled over the small package. Her face looked a little bit busted, but she's very, very sexy. And this is the hottest of body that Sherry had, I believe, during my lifetime. I love you, Sherry.
I agree. And
Rest in peace.
I think they.
Sorry, go ahead, Jess.
They took for. I mean, they booked this whole feud legitly around Sherry and Colonel Robert Parker, kind of sort of having a thing or pretending like they do.
the forced kiss.
Yes, and so
in
they
that
kind of
promo.
booked it around. So unfortunately, you get Booker T but listen. in all fairness, being serious, like in pro wrestling, sometimes a good position on the card, if they don't know what to do with you, is a storyline driven feud. And yes, you look on paper, it looks awful. Harlem Heat against Dick Slater and Bunkhouse Bunk, not because of Harlem Heat, for the record. You look at that, but this whole thing's overshadowed by the Colonel Parker and Cherry bullshit.
She rolls it back. 1, 2, 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the match, Harlem Heat.
How about that? Brain?
That's right. Told me not to say nothing.
No, I didn't say that.
Told me to call the action.
I don't want to put bad. I don't want to put. It's not bad, but because she is an incredibly sexy woman, and
do it,
she
Dave.
knows herself and shows her body.
Watch your mouth.
Careful.
I'm watching it. Watching it
Careful.
But what makes her so sensational is the fact of how ahead of her time she was, how great she was on the mic, how she can elevate a team like Harlem Heat to get them to a whole nother level on their own eventually. She did great things for Harlem Heat. And then on top of that, no, I'm not done. Yeah, I'm not done. Her ability to take bumps from the guys that no other woman would take for probably, maybe a few women, but probably for 20 years.
No.
Commissioner Nick Bockwinkel, who was the on-screen commissioner here.
Okay, I'm the asshole? Okay. No, that's fine.
Commissioner Nick Bockwinkel. Nick Bockwinkel from 93 or 94 was the on-screen commissioner here in WCW. He joins the commentary team to say that WCW champion Hulk Hogan will defend his World Heavyweight Championship for the second time in the year. Against
this
Vader.
clip of Bockwinkel telling whoever, Vader, and then Vader comes out, and then Hogan... Sorry, continue. Just
Yeah, so Vader and Hogan come out. So he tells that the main event of the next pay-per-view, which is Bash at the Beach, which will be live on the beach in Huntington Beach, will be the main event will be Hulk Hogan versus Vader in a steel cage with Hulk Hogan defending his title. However, Nick Bockwinkel forgets the name of Bash at the Beach and he has to be corrected, and this actually led to him being removed from the on-air commissioner role.
Is that true?
Yes, which is funny. Because Bischoff started his career in the AWA with Vern Gagne, and Nick Bockwinkel was the champion a lot back then. So I just feel fucking hilarious that Nick Bockwinkel got the job because Bischoff wanted him, and then finally Bischoff's like, get this fucking guy out of here. But
He's like, well, it looks like I made a mistake.
He wasn't bad. Nick Bockwinkel wasn't that bad.
That doesn't make you a world's champion. You're going to have to get into the ring with Mr. Hogan. And when you do that at the what is it we've got coming up? Bash at the Beach, there's going to be one heck of a bash that you're going to have to create because you're going to have to do it to Mr. Hogan, but you're going to have to do it inside of a cage.
All right. So Bash at the Beach, Southern California, for the world title in a steel cage.
As on-screen
Call me an asshole. If you can't get the name of the event right,
okay, that is fair enough. That's
but my problem was Vader comes out, chokes Bockwinkel, and Hogan comes out, and then gives the worst punches to Vader on the floor to sell like.
Go on. Didn't he have a tie-dye? He had a tie-dye Hulkamania shirt on, didn't he? Like a bitch.
I don't remember, but I just remember like Vader looks so big, so huge, grabs Bockwinkel. Bockwinkel's like, blast to the blah, blah, blah. And then Hogan comes out and saves him. And then like the worst like hits on the back. And I was like, God damn it, Hogan.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So then Okerlund goes to interview Ric Flair, who's excited that Vader gets to finally wrestle Hogan. Flair was just being ridiculous and over the top, almost like he's trying to get the crowd back.
Jess, could you, if I was Gene Okerlund, could I say to you, Flair, what? You're savage tonight. What are your thoughts?
And he goes and rambles on about the women are hot, the money is flowing, like or something. And that's just what Ric Flair always does. And then tonight, Savage, you're mine. Woo! Like it's just that was a typical.
Why
Flair.
is one of your molars like less? Why is your teeth fucked up?
Why fix it when I'm just gonna get them bashed in? Woo! Like so. The next match, once again, I don't feel that maybe this was the right episode to debut. Dave didn't watch, so he's just gonna guess off the name because now I feel like these are fucking
no. This is a D minus.
The next match is
D minus.
The next match is for the television championship. The Renegade defeats
Yep.
Arn Anderson after a splash off the top rope to win the television title at 9 minutes and 7 seconds. This match was a fucking
D-minus.
F. This match
God
is an F.
damn.
This match is a
I
fucking
gave it a
F.
D-minus blindly, bro, because it's Arn Anderson. As soon as I saw Renegade, I was like, oh, that's a
Nope,
piece of shit.
it's an F. This is the only match that I could say Arn Anderson could not carry. So that means Renegade is less talented than a broomstick. Like, because Arn Anderson can carry a broomstick to a good match. That means Renegade is less talented than a broomstick. There was a spot here. First of all, there's so many spots. But, like, I loved Bill Goldberg against Mongo McMichaels in Starrcade 97 because it was such a beautiful car wreck. It was so beautiful, and I loved it. It was my favorite match on the card. Because Hogan's thing sucked, so I had to get something. So, but this wasn't a so bad it's good match. This was a horrible match. This was for Hogan to politic in the back for this pile of shit to get, and I'm sure he's a good person, right? He took his own life. I'm sorry, Renegade.
Who, Renegade?
Yeah, Renegade did.
Yeah.
So, like, I apologize for that. I'm just saying, like, and I'm sure he was a good person, and by all accounts, he was a good person. But Hulk Hogan politicking for this fucking trash wrestler and this trash gimmick to get over on Arn Anderson. And Anderson had to fucking do it and be like, all right, Hulk, if that's what you want. Like, it was bad. There was a spot where Arn Anderson had Renegade, and he was going to push Renegade against the ropes. All Renegade had to do was turn his back to the ropes and bounce. And then Anderson was going to do all of the work and catch him into the spinebuster position and lay him down on the spinebuster. Instead,
he didn't do that?
Which is what Arn Anderson does.
He didn't do that?
Which instead,
Jesse didn't do
Renegade comes off the ropes. He doesn't even bounce off flat on his back. He stumbles sideways into the ropes. Comes off. He ducks his head as Anderson ducks his head, almost collides and smashes his head into Anderson's, but Anderson still muscled him up and hit the spinebuster.
Did that affect the spinebuster, Jess?
No, it didn't, surprisingly. And that's the only thing I could say good about this match was that Anderson muscled the spinebuster up because this piece of shit just couldn't do anything. I was an F. It was awful. And the fact that Anderson had to lay there and take a splash
because Arn Anderson's a man.
It was fucking awful. It was awful.
Well,
it was,
okay, so
He didn't go for the pin. If he'd have gone for the pin, he may have had him.
Up top. Anderson is prone. The Renegade taking flight. 1, 2,
have him, no.
3.
Ladies and gentlemen, the champion, the match, and new world television champion, the Renegade.
An incredible upset.
I'm just going to disagree and say it's an A and just say rest in peace. Rest in peace to Renegade and his family. And the quicker they get him,
I don't know
WWF
what your
Hall of
problem
Fame,
is,
the
Jess.
better.
God.
What? I mean, there's no, I don't know. I mean, I might be by myself here. But if you can't, if Arn Anderson can't carry Renegade, what's his point?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Like, he just rolled down the
Oh, that better be on Instagram later. Oh my God, that's fantastic. Thank you, Craig. Thank you for that.
I'm sorry.
The next match.
Yeah.
The next
You'll
match.
cut this out, Jess will cut this out.
I will. I'll edit just fine.
Don't
he's a trooper.
you dare. Don't you dare.
The next match is for the WCW Tag Team Championship. The Nasty Boys defeated the Blue Bloods when Brian Noms pinned Earl of Robert Eaton. So it's Steve Regal and Robert Eaton here.
I'm going to give it a C based on blind.
After
review.
14 minutes and 58 seconds,
What a reach.
I give it a C minus because there was a couple spots in here.
I'm getting closer.
There was a couple spots in here where, Bobby Heenan dropped a fucking beautiful knee off the top rope. Regal was wrestling really well, and the Nasty Boys, they were entertaining. They're entertaining, and but it was not a. I mean, it wasn't nearly enough to save this pay-per-view, and it's scrapping together two people, putting Steven Regal and Bobby Eaton together as a tag team. It's like you can't think of anything better to do with Regal.
Yeah.
I can think of Lord Regal saying, "I'm trying to walk with him."
I give it a C minus. Like contrasting styles, like Nasty Boys can kind of work with anybody. Like Regal and Eaton are the fucking best in the world. Like should have been better though.
Yes, I agree.
But it was.
It feels thrown together, does it not?
It does.
I mean, if you're following Renegade and Arn Anderson, it's tough.
It's Nobbs. And the cover. There's no referee. 1, 2, 3.
He's out of possession of count.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the match and still world tag team champions, the Nasty Boys.
This is a travesty.
It is right to beat him. So the next
God,
match here,
dude, you're full of pepper tonight, Craig. I'll tell you what.
But and if you're following that and you still and if you still can't like rise to the occasion following Renegade and Arneson in all truthfulness, like I'm sorry.
It's thrown together. The next match is for the vacant United States Championship. It's the tournament finals for the U.S. title. Sting defeats Meng to win the United States Heavyweight Championship after a jumping DDT. After a jumping DDT to win the title, 13 minutes and 36 seconds. A little recap on here too. It was a double-sided tournament, where they had brackets and then like they had the.
I was going to talk about that. Yeah.
So it was supposed to be the winner of Sting and Meng would face the winner of Flair and Savage. However,
this already fucks it up. Yeah.
Flair and Savage did their semifinal match, and they got in there and they started fighting outside the ring, and then they kept fighting outside. They both got counted out, which is fucking funny because they went through this thing where even on Nitro, like they were trying to keep Savage out. Not Nitro, they didn't do Nitro at this point. They did Saturday nights, WCW Saturday night. Savage kept trying to get in the fucking arena, and even when they debuted Nitro in September later this year, he would try to get in the fucking arena, and Flair would taunt him on, and he could never get in there. And there was one segment, and I'm pretty sure it was on Nitro, where Flair had his robe, and he was walking around in the back like he didn't know where he was, and he was like, "Hey!" and he just yelled, and Savage comes out and clocks him and just starts beating the shit out of him. And like I belly laughed. Like Savage and Flair, we're gonna get to it later, had so much fucking chemistry together. It was fucking ridiculous.
They're great. Yeah. But but even then, Jess, this is bullshit, and it's bullshit. Like this fucks up the whole tournament.
It does.
Like,
so
you're looking at that great match that could have come to bring something to the final. Oh my god!
They stopped.
Sorry, that's all I want to say.
It would have just been Flair and Sting again. That's all it would have been because like the Flair would just bump for Sting. But so what they did was they halted the semifinal match between Meng and Sting and said, "Then you're going to be in the finals on the pay-per-view." So this ended up being the finals on the pay-per-view, and Sting would win the title. I give this match a C+.
Yeah, that's where I was putting it.
Yes, not wrong.
It wasn't. They had really like pushed Meng. Like I would say, arguably.
I like Meng too.
I'm not saying it worked. I'm not saying it worked. I'm just saying they pushed Meng, I think, better than WWF did as King Haku and all that stuff.
Yes, 100%.
From day one that Meng came in this promotion, they pushed him as like this guy that you didn't want to fuck
they tried.
with because they wanted to make his real persona, which everybody thought Meng was the toughest guy
in
the
was
world.
legit the toughest guy in the world, yeah.
So the
toughest guy in wrestling.
They wanted to bring that in here. I think, looking back on this, I mean, I love Sting, and I remember cheering when I was 1995 Jess or whatever, but I remember if you're going to do that, Meng should win and go over and be the U.S. champion, because if you're pushing him that hard, like, you just might as well fucking do it.
That's a good point.
Craig Pittman can't make Duggan tap in the goddamn armbar, then go ahead and put a heel over that way, then make Meng meet Sting.
That doesn't work for you, brother.
So, I mean, there's a couple things I thought that could have been a little different, like, as hot as like Flair and Macho were, and they were beating the crap out of each other in the back, and Macho's trying to get in the building and building this great story. I thought you could have even gone further, and you could have had them completely separate in the brackets and actually meet in the finals at this pay-per-view and blow the roof off this place. That's what I was kind of thinking too. You beat Sting, you beat Meng, you do all these crazy things. Like Flair could do a quick crazy thing to get Meng out of there, like, and then they meet and they tear the house down.
If you know
it's a semifinal.
If you know piece of shit Hulk is not going to defend his title on the program, then why not let Flair win the U.S. title or Savage win the U.S. title and feud over that? Actually
100%. Go back to the Lucky Man's title.
I'll give this a B-. I'm just happy to see Meng in like this kind of role, like probably the most he's ever been pushed as a singles competitor.
The ending was good but odd, but I like that stuff. So like he puts Meng in the Scorpion Deathlock and Meng powers out of it, which Sting, you don't do that to Sting, right? And then so Sting bounced off the ropes and gave him like a jumping DDT and then got the 3 count. So they made it to where like Meng was fucking powering out of all Sting's moves. Sting could not make him tap, and then Meng just kept powering out, and it wasn't like a Meng got to the ropes. He powered out of it and like pushed Sting off or whatever, and Sting was like, oh shit, and then he just hit a jumping DDT and got a quick 3 count. So I get they were trying to protect Meng, but at this point I'm like, but if you're gonna book that though, you should just make Meng go over. Sting could win. Sting could take that. He's Teflon. He could take that kind of loss, and Sting could win it later, like at a later pay-per-view.
He keeps doing things you don't expect him to do.
Jumping up and a DDT. Sting, 1, 2, 3.
Ladies and gentlemen,
And at the same time, when this goes the way it goes, the way they booked this whole thing, a singles match with no gold on the line overtakes the only singles belt that should have been the main event for the final match. Which I don't really appreciate
it
at
was
all.
for the U.S. title. It was for the U.S. title.
No, but what Dave is saying is they should have booked the main event. They should have made Savage and Flair on opposite ends of the tournament.
Oh, God.
And then they faced each other in the finals in the main event with that feud already in place for the U.S. title. And then, one of the two would win the
But
U.S.
instead,
belt.
you have Ric Flair and Randy overshadowing the U.S. title match, which is not even the last match.
Well, and I'll just jump into that. We have Ric Flair pins Randy Savage in 14 minutes and 41 seconds after hitting Savage in the face with a fucking cane and pinning him. I give this match a goddamn A. Man, you know what?
I was going to say A-, to be honest. A-.
And I'm sorry, I should just ask Dave.
No, you're good. It's new. It's new. We're trying it. We're going to try it again.
I give this match an A. This match was fucking great. A lot of people remember the WrestleMania 8 match, which is also really good, but a lot of their WWF matches after that was kind of formulaic. In WCW, why I like competition, which is why I defend AEW and everybody else, any other promotion, is to watch Savage get a second resurgence here after Vince was like, "You're just going to be on commentary. You're not really going to be part-time
lovely.
wrestler."
It's lovely
to watch them have this. Yep. This match was so fucking good. They were intense. Angelo Pavo was in the front row because at the end of the other pay-per-view before this, Slamboree in May, they attacked Angelo Pavo, which is why Angelo was coming down with a cane, which totally foreshadowed that fucking cane coming into play at the end of the match. Angelo's in the front row. Flair fucks with him, pulls him over the rail, I think, at one point, if I remember right. And they're doing all kinds of shit. On Father's Day, Angelo Pavo's in the front row, and Flair grabs the cane at the end and hits Savage right in the fucking face with the cane. It was such a great spot. I mean, Savage protected himself, but the way he rolled his shoulder, it was genius, the sleight of hand that these two did. And there was another spot where Flair's on the outside of the ring grabbing the guardrail. Savage is on the top rope and going to drop the double axe handle. Flair moves and Savage throats himself on that fucking rail, incredibly hard. And I was like, oh my God. And Flair doesn't even bend down to go, are you okay? He's all, get up, bitch. And he grabs him by the hair.
They just know, but they know.
He starts punching Savage in the fucking face. And I was like, dude, this match was excellent. It's the only match you probably should go out of your way to watch, honestly, on this pay-per-view. But what a fucking main event and what a match. It was just fucking brilliant. Go ahead, Craig. It was so good.
Chopped with that one. He hit that ball out of the 1, 2, 3 goes. The dirtiest player.
Nature Boy.
Thank goodness.
Ric Flair got the king from Angelo Pavo and hit a home run on the jaw of the Macho Man Randy Savage.
No, I agree the same. I give it a solid B. Bookended by this whole event, bookended by decent matches by Pillman and Alex Wright, and then finishing off with this no Hogan, no Luger. It was great. You forget when you let them breathe. It was so good. Flair and Savage.
When you guys talk about pay-per-view / PLE, it's all pay-per-view at this point. This is, I believe, is this Savage and Flair's third real match like this on this level, or is it their second?
They were feuding before this.
Yeah, WrestleMania 8.
No, but even in WCW, I believe they were.
Was it 8 or 9? I'm sorry. No, was it 8? No, it was 8.
It was 8. I don't. You know what? You might have a point because I don't. Yes, they were feuding, Craig, to your point, but they didn't directly. They were in a tag match the month before at Slamboree. Flair lost, but they were in tag match there. So singles match, this might be their first WCW pay-per-view. But then they would go on when Nitro started.
And do more.
They main evented a bunch of Nitros. They main evented Super Brawl 96. Well, they didn't main event that, but they were part of the co-main event on that one. So they you might be right, Dave. I think this might be their second or third big.
It's second or third actual pay-per-view match, and I think those two really understood how to, more than most people, on Dusty level, kind of obviously it's Flair, but Jesus. But people forget about Savage quite a bit. He knew how to build a story and long term. I mean, what he did with Hogan, we all know it's almost unsurpassed. Now you've got Bloodline storylines and you got Cody storylines, which is comes close. Savage and Flair have carried something that people really forget about in the realm of great storytelling and great match working to coincide with that storytelling. To your point, that rail hit and just like Flair really laying into Randy, which Flair usually doesn't. Flair's kind of easygoing in there, like he's easy, but there's times when Flair knows when to turn up the heat. Those guys just knew it, man. They gelled, and it's a shame that they were separated for as long as they were. They got a little taste in WWF at the time, and then to your point, Jess, this is really when they were able to turn up the heat in WCW.
I know that Sting, that most people and Flair consider Sting like to be his greatest opponent, but I disagree. I think Sting's greatest opponent,
Savage.
I think Sting's greatest opponent was Vader, and I think Flair's greatest opponent was Savage. And I know, well, I mean, on our level, I mean, like, you have Race back in the day and Rhodes, and they had a hell of a run. So it's hard if you're talking about like early '80s, late '70s wrestling, because you had Flair and Rhodes, you had Flair and Race. So that's
more fanfare than match work.
If I lived through that, I get it. I would probably say that, but I would say in our time or whatever, like I think Flair and Savage, because Sting and Flair were too formulaic, and I think Savage and Flair, especially in WCW, understood like let's just fucking brawl and let's just fight. I mean, they fought on the outside. There were times where Flair would hit Savage with something and go for a pin, and Savage would kick out and just get up and start punching Flair, and like it just they kept this energy and momentum going up in the entire match, and then you had Angelo Poffo on the outside of the ring, and like it was just this beautiful like dance that they did. And the cane shot was just, it was such a great sleight of hand. It looked brutal. It looked like he hit Savage right in the face, and maybe he did, but I mean, like it's
the great to your point, the great matches, the great hookups, matchups, rivalries, whatever, comes when somebody elevates somebody else. And I feel like the thing about to Sting and Vader, not to put Sting down in a way, but Sting had to go up and match Vader on intensity, on the ham hocks and all that, which made Sting and them better together. Flair and Savage had a way of elevating each other simultaneously, if that makes any sense, on intensity. And it's you might argue that Savage had more intensity than Flair because Flair's that chicken shit heel, but you would see Flair get quite nasty in there with Savage in a good way. And they brought those two setups, to your point, just brought out the best in each other. And I think you're right about the best rivalries, the best matchups are those two matchups when it comes to Sting. It's Vader and Flair. It's Savage all day long, which is crazy because we think of one of the best storylines is Savage and Hogan, but you would argue that match was not nearly as good as the storytelling. The match work that Flair and Savage had over years and years after WWF was far more entertaining, in my opinion.
I think overall, I give this a D. This pay-per-view, Savage and Flair saved it. If this main event was a dud, or they tried to end it in a double DQ or some crazy shit, I'd give it a straight F. But like, I would say I give it a D, which is still not good. This pay-per-view was awful.
And you did get a payoff with the U.S. title going to somebody, but
yeah, they could have booked it. To Dave's point, they could have booked it way better. But hey, first review back or whatever. We're getting, we introduced a new thing. I kept stepping on Dave, and I'm sorry. But
it's new.
We'll be better. We'll be better, and I'll have better stuff. I'm gonna bring this back better than ever. YouTube, you haven't beaten me yet. You haven't beaten me yet, YouTube. You fuck.
You're going to figure it out, man. You're going to figure out these 3-second vids. And I'm still going to do this just for fun.
I don't want to take that away from you, so go ahead.
There you go. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Or for video, check us out on YouTube at our wrestling channel. And also look to your left here for your elaborated several video options. If I'm Vanna White, is this left or this left? I don't even know.
I don't know. I don't know how to figure it out. I'm a teenager in 2025. I'm dumb.
Yeah, please give us a follow on Instagram at O.W.P 2019 and Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast if you are so inclined to try to open that app. It's ancient, so do your best. For the O.W.P, this is Jess, Craig, and Dave signing off. Have a good one.
Suck my butt.
Whoa.